There are a number of very professional county executives here, and the new tools, the new technology tools which they have to apply can dramatically improve the quality of life in their communities. So it's basically a message that the transformative opportunities to make government more responsive today because of these tools are greater than any time in the last century.
Give us some examples of what some cities have done to be innovative.
Well, cities and counties all across the country, including in the state of New York, are using these tools to increase outreach to communities, right, to involve more collaborative discussions, to do more personalization, to do more predictive analytics, to identify a pothole before it occurs rather than after, to identify a water leak that's about to happen rather than after. So it's the personalization, customization, and effectiveness of public services.
What recommendations do you have for county officials in New York that has a mix of both urban and rural counties?
Well, the good news is that the technologies today are widely available because of cloud computing. It's not just a New York City county that can do these activities. Any city or county can. The issue is that government's designed one way. It's designed to be very routine and very control-oriented, and yet we now have tools that allow our public employees to be smarter and better than ever before. So the message is evaluate the tools that solve problems best for your community and don't be thwarted in their application by kind of the old ways that we manufacture government. This is from LA City and County. It's actually a website that and a service that's both city and county. But they took they both use an Esri GIS platform, and they began to map all of their public data, make it all available with GIS coordinates, so that if you're in the county or you're in the city or you're in a neighborhood, then you can see everything that's happening in that neighborhood. So think about the Parks Department worker that's trimming a tree at 10th and Main at the same time the Department of Transportation is setting up a barricade because they're fixing the pavement or whatever the case may be, right? You can find those things out in your counties, but it should be a lot easier. And one of the things that LA found is that using a GIS open data hub, we think about open data as helping our residents see what's happening in government, but it actually helps our employees see what's happening in another agency much more easily than the path that's available today. So this GIS hub, it's basically kind of off-the-shelf software. And I run a program at Harvard for chief data officers from 25 large cities and counties, and they're able then to share insights from county to county and city to city. Well, we found this out with the data. Here's how we set up the algorithms. We can share them from city to city and county to county. And then if we think about this interoperability, FirstNet is an example of that as well. Certainly when I was in New York City, and even today in many places, emergency responders have great difficulty communicating with each other in the sense of disaster. Another way to think about this smarter public employee activity is both in Westchester County using dashboards to manage their probation departments, and in Philadelphia using data analytics to manage their probation departments, right? The issue is we have too many cases to manage and too few people to manage them, right? There's no county in the U.S. that has too much money for the public services that it needs to do, right? So the question becomes, how do we have the best possible probation worker assigned to the case where he or she can make the most difference, right? Because some of those probationers are going to behave no matter what. Some are not going to behave no matter what. Some are in the center whose behavior can be influenced, and some of their behavior can be influenced more by one type of probation officer with one type of experience than another, right? So how do we use data to manage those caseloads so that we have a better chance for, right, the goal would be for every ounce of public energy, public employee energy that we have, how do we allocate that resource in a way that makes a positive change for our county? And this slide suggests we use data analytics to better align where we can make a difference, to better align, many of you have nonprofit contracts that you use for social services. Which of those providers is particularly effective, which are particularly effective with various demographics and the like. So how do we use data to make our public employees better?
In Boston, they have laptops in the fire trucks, and they get a blueprint of the building before they're there. And I say, exactly. That's what you want. Yes, that's what we want. Okay, so let's go upstream. Let's see how the data's collected right now. How are the blueprints collected? Well, they're in paper. Okay, well, where are they? They're in boxes in the office. Some of them are in PDFs. Okay, well, PDF you can't really. So what we do is we take them through the cycle and say, you want to be here, we got to start here. We've got to go through this whole process. And then it starts to illuminate how important this back end work is. And that's the boring part of me.